Good morning. We're live. Got my coffee. I'm in my favorite rest area. So we get to make our coffee this morning. Got this new stuff. See if anybody comes in here. No notifications went out. There we go. If you're in here, tell your friends. Share on your community page. John Citrone, how's it going? Red Pepper, how you doing? Hanging in there, Red Pepper? I just want you to know that this world is a better place with you in it. I truly mean that. We're going to talk about something. I want to do it live to get some interaction going. Get some more people in here. And this is something for anybody, whether you're a owner op, lease op, company driver. I'm going to talk about something that's been kind of weighing on my mind a little bit. Something that I've discovered in the last 5 years of my existence. Give me a second here. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Get some more people in here. Man, there's only 7 or 8 people in here. Anybody in the Zello group, share it. See that I'm live. So we get at least a couple more people in here. YouTube's been kind of screwy with the stuff. And it probably didn't help the fact that I already uploaded a video this morning. Hope you guys saw my cooking in the truck video. I'm not going to be on here too long. I say that, but usually I don't mean it. All right. Got our coffee. Man, I got this new Folgers chocolate. See how it tastes. I might have made it too strong. We'll see. But we got it here. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Get some comments. Pale Rider, if you don't mind, share the video so we can get some more people in here. Oh man, yeah, that's one of the cool things about my weight loss is getting up and down a lot easier. See if we can open a window here. There we go. No, somebody's gonna park next to me idling, I bet. Beautiful day, beautiful day. Temperatures dropped like 15 degrees, so that's cool. So let's talk about complicating the system, how that equals profits. Morning Coffee Thoughts Live. Thank you for coming in. Several months ago, a friend of mine sent me, he was having trouble with his business. So he sent me his settlement. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. Thank you, Pale Rider. And he could make heads or tails of it. And once you dug down into it and figured this out, what was this, it was easy to see that there was a lot of deductions taken out. And what I found that is if a carrier has a lot of deductions, or if they charge you for every little thing and it's complicated in the settlement, it's hard to keep track of that. You know, if you're keeping track of all your numbers, it's hard to kind of, you know, see what they're actually taking. And it's not just in trucking. Think about this. When was the last time you got a cell phone, right? You went to Sprint or Verizon or whatever, and what did they do? They handed you this big long contract, right? And I remember one time I called my carrier, my phone carrier one time, just to activate a phone. And this gal who could barely speak English, she had to try to explain to me 15 times. We did this for like 20 minutes. It was like that Who's on First skit. It was like that. And I still to this day don't understand what she was trying to sell me. She said that if I got on this plan, that they would do a rebate here and then a rebate there, and then that would add up to this much money in savings, but you know, if you do it this way, you get this much off per savings, and they complicated the whole thing. And I said, look, I want this for this amount of dollars. That's it. And look at your cell phone bill. What do you got? You got this fee and that fee, and you know, property tax, personal tax, you know, it's like all this stuff, right? And think about your tax person, right? They have to learn how to read the complicated wording, right? And because of that educated level that they have, or the ability to understand the tax laws, they're able to charge you to do something that you can do yourself if the process was simplified. And buying a car, stocks, everything. Even as a company driver, there's been people that have showed me their settlements. People do that a lot for some reason. And it's like heads or tails of trying to, okay, this is the insurance, this is this, you know, it's like, why can't you just say X amount of miles, this deduction, this deduction, this deduction? That's it, right? And what I've learned is the more you complicate a system, the more you can profit. Because America as a general is being dumbed down. There's a reason why your average Joe can't really enter the stock market and make a killing. There's a reason for that. That's by design. And so you have trucking carriers out here that have settlements that are incredibly hard to read, and you know, and one of the things I found with Landstar was that some deductions were taken out weekly, some deductions were taken out bi-weekly, some deductions were only taken out up to a certain amount once a month, other deductions were taken out every 6 months. It was like I could never get a grasp of what my actual deductions were. How I made it the first year at Landstar is a freaking miracle. That's honesty right there. So when I started to keep track, I found that I couldn't figure out a rhyme or reason, because they would take, you know, this insurance on the second week, but not on this month, and you know, it's just like it was always complicating. Now Snyder, every week you get this, and that's it. Simple. You know, and I had all the buybacks and all the additional stuff, right? And it was still easy to figure out. And yesterday I watched the live feed, where this carrier was changing the percentages based off of different things, like time and how much money and all this other stuff. And it was just like, why complicate the situation? You know, one of the best aspects of working for or being signed on to Life Trucking is that Jeff keeps things simple. We have one deduction, fuel. Once a quarter, we get our IFTA taken out and our KYU, Kentucky, taken out, and that's it. There's $1.50 each time we get fuel that's absorbed into our savings, fuel savings. Or if we go somewhere where we don't get a rebate, then, or not a rebate, but you know, discount. Can't think this morning. Then it's like $1.50. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? And I realized that to complicate things, that's where you can make profit. It's kind of like if you go to a carnival, right? And you look at one of like the balloon popping game. You know, they're like, okay, if you do 2 for $10, you can do 4 for 10 or 4 for 15, and then you can do this, and then if you win twice but then miss once, then you get this row of animals, and then it's like how about I just throw the dart at the balloon and you give me something for it? Isn't that the gist of it? No, they gotta wheel and deal, and they gotta complicate the system. So by the time you're done, your head is spinning if they're good, and you're handing them money and not knowing what you're getting. See how that works? That's by design. And it's just like diets, you got all these people doing the keto thing, and the first 3 months I refused to use the word keto, because that meant that you had to complicate it. You had to if you do this and you do this and then you can't do this, and then you have this supplement and that supplement and this supplement. Well, you know what? If it's complicated, it's hard to do. That's how diet is. Eat fresh food. Stay low on the carbs. Avoid 2 things. You're done. Drink a lot of water. Simple. But that's the world we live in today. Is we have to complicate it. Think about. Remember the old school HMO insurance, health insurance? It was pretty simple. $25 copay, $50 copay, $100 copay. That's it. Everything else, there was no filling out all these extra forms. There was no okay, well, we might pay for this, but not for that. We'll pay for 80% of this, and we'll pay only 20% of that. And okay, well, you didn't really need that, so we're only going to pay 10%, that kind of thing. And it's like, there are people that have jobs. I have friends that do this. There are people that have jobs that all they do is get a calculator out, and they analyze whatever they're doing, whatever their company's doing, and they try to squeeze out every single last penny. That's how big corporations work. That's how small companies work. That's how you make money. Let's see if we can squeeze out every little penny. If a company like say JB Hunt can squeeze out every little penny from every little situation in their field, in their business, that people have found that, I mean, you want to talk about micromanaging. There are companies out there that micromanage things to the littlest penny. I mean, I've got a program on my computer that will tell me to the hundredth of a cent of what something costs me, right? And so, back to trucking, okay? You have carriers out there that they have these different bonus programs that if you do this, you get this. If you do this, you get this. If you do this, you get this. But if you don't do this, you only get this. And you know, it's like, you know, and then a lot of times, look at the deductions. Look at your settlement. If you have trouble reading your settlement, you are losing money. That is a fact. And so that was one of the main things about signing on with Like Trucking. And no, this isn't a commercial for Like Trucking, but Jeff keeps it simple. Why? Because he doesn't want to complicate his life. He wants to make it easier for the owner-operator to sit there and say, you know what, this is what I need, this is what I need to do. Okay? And I'll get to the comments here in a second. I'm not ignoring you. We've got 30 people in here finally. I appreciate that. And I wish more carriers would go to a simplified system. And if they're in like, if they did that, then maybe your owner operator would be more successful. There's a company out there that's having a little bit of trouble right now because of the different deductions and the amount of deductions that each driver faces. It's an owner operator company, and after talking with a couple of their drivers, I'm just like shaking my head. It's like, wow, I mean, do you even know what your cost per mile is? Because I can't figure it out. You know, there's several carriers like that. I've had several people reach out to me to see if I can help them out, which, you know, first question I'm going to ask you is, what's your cost per mile? And if that's hard to determine because your settlement's hard to read, there's a problem there. And it may not be you. Remember the old cell phone plans? $30 a month for this many minutes. That was it. And the plan that I'm on now, at first, was unlimited everything for this X amount of dollars. But then when you throw in, you want to get a phone, and then you add a line, and then now we got this rebate and that rebate. Well, if you do this for 2 years, you get this for free, but if not, then you'll get charged. But then it's going to show up as a charge on your bill, but then we're going to rebate it on the bill as well. In other words, if you get like a tablet, and they're like, okay, this tablet's for free if you last 2 years, right? 2-year contract. And then, but it's going to show up as $20 a month, but then it's going to show a negative 20 as well. It's going to show a $20 credit each month. Well, how much faith do I have that you're going to take out that $20 every month, right? What if you forget the rebate, right? How about you just, here's your tablet, and then at 2 years, it's yours. And if not, boom, you send me a bill for the tablet, it's a done deal. How hard is that? Because you can't profit off of simplicity. You just can't. You know? And for me, simplicity goes a long way. Because I'm kind of a dumbass, right? So the more you complicate system, it's easier to take money from a person. Government does it. Carriers do it. Your phone company does it. The car dealerships do it. Your truck leasing programs do it. They complicate the system. So, since when does the tablet last 2 years? You know, I've had this one for 5 years now. I bought this when I was at Landstar. I use this again on the low board. Now I only use it for Netflix and my satellite TV. However, if it's not plugged in, it drains battery pretty quickly. New battery, $60. Go figure, you can buy a new one for 60. And it likes to just shut down. So I got to cancel this thing because I hardly use it. I'm not on Netflix as much as I used to. You know, and I'm dreading going into my phone carrier and saying, hey, do you have another deal? Because, oh, well, if you do this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other, next thing you know, I'm head spinning and I'm charged $100. I don't even know why. So let's go to the comments here. Oh, let's see. Got a lot of people in here. I appreciate it. John Citrone, I hope you're doing well. Red Pepper, I already talked to you. Hope you're doing okay. Donnie Luke. Left Lane Freight Train. That's a good name. Good morning. Michael N. How's it going? Ghost Rider, how are you doing? James G. Nice to see you in here. Nice to see a fellow like trucking guy in here. Jason Perry, how's it going? Yeah, I know you miss driving, Red Pepper. Big Houston, what's up? Pale Rider shared my thing. Thank you so much. Light Bright, what is up? Christy, or Keith, sorry. Keith Lowry, what's up? Morning. Dope Simo 04, what's up? John Cater, what's cracking? Salty Pirate. Good morning, Matt. Finally caught another live feed. Next Gen, what's up? Let's smash that like button with your keto strong arm. There you go. You guys see my cooking video? That I ate good, man. Brugger Trucking, what's up? I make things more complicated in my head than what it actually is. Right, Red Pepper. I think we all do to a certain degree, and what that does, that creates worry, that creates stress, and too much stress eventually eats at your soul, your mind, and your body. I mean, disease comes from stress a lot of times, and I think that to be able to sit back and, you know, I mean, think about this. When the family and I went to the cabin out in the woods, right? It was so nice, man. Put the phones down, no TV, had my iPod for music, put it on shuffle so I didn't even have to think about what I was going to listen to. And it was just nice to sit down and read a book. It was just nice to hang out and play board games with the family. Simplify. And once you simplify, life becomes a lot more enjoyable. That's the problem with these new trucks. You got this sensor and that sensor. You got the DPF, DEF. You got all these 1,000 different systems trying to work in unison. And then when the truck breaks down, what happens? Well, we got to go through this sensor and this sensor, and then we got to do a force regen, and then we got this. There's never a mechanical issue. It's always computer or a sensor or something of that nature, right? And God forbid you have something that combines both, like a turbo, you know, turbo and turbo actuator, and that needs to be done with the computer. So you can't just like throw this thing on with the hose and be done with it. No, they complicated it to make money. You can't shade tree vehicles anymore, trucks or cars. You can't sit there and just park your car in the driveway and work on it. I mean, you can do certain things still, like oil changes and stuff like that. But now you've got sensors on the tires that if you change a tire, it's going to screw it up. I mean, come on, it's getting ridiculous. Why? Because they can make money. You have to take it to the dealership to get the sensor reset after you change the tire, you know, and while they're there, they're going to sell you this, they're going to sell you that, you know. Hell, you go to like a place like Jiffy Lube for an oil change. What do? They well, you know, at this many miles you need this, and this many miles you need this, and this many miles you need this, and this air filter, blah blah, you know. And it's like, next thing you know, you've paid them $60 and you don't know why. And so what do? You try to educate yourself, but everything's so complicated that you have to you don't have time, you know. So you just like, look, just do whatever you need to do. And you don't and that's by design. You don't realize how much money is going out because, wow, so this $5 fix, you just made $100 off me because I did not educate myself and you've complicated the situation to where I don't want to educate myself, and that could have saved me $95. See how that works? Charles Brandt, what's up? Good morning, Pitbull Gator. Gary Compton, haven't seen you in a minute. What's up? Hope things are well at Yeti Transportation. Yeah, you like the ribeye there, Jordan. Yes, it was very... Dude, I couldn't believe it. So, normally when you cook in the lunchbox cooker, after about an hour, you start smelling it, right? Well, because I had lifted it up, I couldn't smell it. I'm sitting there like, man, I bet you my lunchbox cooker's not working. I got a steak going bad because it's sitting there at like lukewarm temperature for 2 hours, right? And then towards the last half hour, as I was going through Indy, I noticed I could really smell something. It smelled like something burning. I'm like, oh crap, it went from not cooking to burning. So, but what had happened was some of the juice and butter had dripped out and was in the bottom of the pan. That's what I was smelling. But the thing was, let's see, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 4 hours. 4 hours, and it was like I said, it was like a medium rare but better. But there was no pink. I mean, it was cooked all the way through. 4 hours. 4 hour slow cooked ribeye steak is the bomb, as you said, Jordan. I have prepaid for everything, my phone and my Wi-Fi hotspot I use for my PS4. Chuck for Life, good morning. I see someone has had his coffee this morning. You know, I haven't even had a sip of coffee. Check this out. I went to bed at like 2, slept 5 hours, and I feel pretty dang good. And this chocolate coffee is the bomb. I broke a valve stem and they wanted $700 because it was a tire pressure sensor valve stem. I told them just use one off the spare. Had to outsmart them and save $700, right? For a valve stem 2-bit, something that, you know, and that's the thing. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you look at a lot of the stuff they sell, they try to peddle you at the like Mid-America Truck Show and that things of that nature. I need to. Of course, you know, I can't sit here with the window open because it's raining, so, you know, God forbid I have some fresh air in here. I noticed that they're either complicating a system that doesn't need to be complicated, or they are willing to simplify a system and charge you for it. In other words, like, for example, if you want to get your own authority, you can do it on your own, or you could pay a WIDA to do all the work for you, but you're going to pay for that. You know, you have to pay for simplification. So you pay either way, right? That's the nature of the world. That's how business is done. There's no more business management anymore. It's business manipulation. How can you manipulate your business to work for your needs? Consume, consume, consume. Had to recharge Freon in my pickup. Takes a special kind of tool now. Dealership only. Right. Yeah, Brugger, that reminds me. I needed to make a key for my Ford F-150, right? So I went into the dealership. And it's a special, like, anti-theft key or whatever. And, oh, you're going to have to leave the truck here for 2 days. And you know, it's they want almost $1,000 for this scenario, right? So, me being the tightwad, I don't think it was $1,000. It was it was like $100, something like that. Went down to Walmart. Yeah, we can make that. Had it done for like $30, right? And why does a key cost $30? Well, because you got to have the anti-theft system in it, and only that key will start the truck, you know, with the microchip, blah, 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 blah. The biggest repair that I've had on my pickup cost me between $600 or $800, and it was computer. for a 20-year-old truck. Think about that. A computer. And why? Because the computer wouldn't let the key start the truck. So, you know, I despise going into dealerships, big truck or car, because they have you. They have you. And so it's important to have a relationship with a mechanic or a shop that you can trust, even the dealership, because like anything Packard related, I got to get done at Kenworth or Peterbilt, right? And you know, and I'm literally I'm like giving this guy my wallet and saying, here, don't ream me too bad. You know what I mean? Little Viking Coach, what's up? The reason why things are going to dealership only is because knockoffs. I believe that. You need festival foods like we have in Wisconsin, where they have some of the best pre-cooked prime rib you'll ever have, and all their pre-cooked meals are actually pretty good. That sounds good, Andrew. The Hool, what's up? Thanks for all your good info. I start my journey today with my rail trainer, 19 days together, training, then my own truck. Plan on seeing you in Dallas Truck Show next month. Awesome, Scribe. Very good, very good. Had to read, okay, already read that. 25 years ago, you break out a toolbox, work on your tractor or personal vehicle. Now, if you don't have a computer to diagnose the codes or code, you might as well close the hood. Fact. Yes, John Cater, and here's the thing with that. So, Packard, they don't make their software easy to get. Cummins, you can. You got to pay out. There's a lot of there's a big reason why a lot of independent shops don't carry Packard software, because it's expensive to have and to keep. It's like a subscription, and so Packard has designed this bubble that you have to go to a Packard to work on a Packard motor, as far as like computer stuff. Now, you can change shocks, you can change your own oil, you can change, you know, mechanical parts that don't have anything to do with the computers or sensors. But if you have something computer or sensor related, or DPF or DEF or any of that nature, you have to go to a Packard dealership. You know, you have to. Had a sleeper airbag go out. I called Peterbilt and I was told 2-day wait. I ordered the part and had it delivered, put it on in an hour. Yep, there you go. Hey Snoller, what's your thoughts on the new bill to raise liability insurance minimum from $750 to closer to what? Liability insurance minimum from $750,000 to closer to $4,875,000? I haven't heard that, but that's outrageous. You know, it's going to get to the point where it's not worth it to be out here anymore. I mean, and that just goes to show you that, you know, it's probably a group of insurance companies that are pushing that bill. Why? Because they could charge more for you, so they can make a profit off you. And insurance companies are kind of hurting, because there's a lot of people out here willy-nilly. And I was talking with a friend of mine on Zello last night, and we were talking about how insurance companies, with all these new authorities, are having issues with a lot of cargo claims. There's a lot of cargo claims, right? And that's what's like kind of killing things right now. That's kind of like, so if you're a new authority, that's why they're going to ream you on the second year, especially if you have a cargo claim. Cargo claim will take you out. Next in. I pretty much feel like I'm on a treadmill, not getting anywhere most of the time, just staying afloat. John Citron, that's where we're all at. Don't feel bad. Are you still at Big O? Right now, it's just survival mode. was put out there last week. It's a war on smaller carriers. I agree, carrier or Gary, but you know the only problem with that is that small carriers make up the majority of the trucking industry. It may not seem like that because everywhere you look, there's Snyder, Swift, Werner, Prime, you know, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you know, I could see that eventually it's more cost effective to join a larger carrier. I mean, how many people with their own authority get on these power only programs like Schneider and Prime and stuff when things get tough in the market, you know? Because they have the freight base. I mean, yeah, Schneider might only have like 20,000 trucks, but they've got 50,000 trailers. And, you know, they got buying power. They got the power to go into a place and, you know, and I saw that Matt did a video, he was doing a video about Traveloco. It was like a question and answer thing, and someone asked about contract freight. And, you know, and Traveloco was talking about how they, well, we're going to work on that. We're working on that, right? The problem with that is that now is not the time to be able to negotiate a contract freight. It ain't going to happen, because the time to negotiate contract freight is when the rates are really, really, really good, because you want to save the shipper money. They're tired of spending $3 a mile to get something moved. Well, you come in and say, we'll do it for $2.25. As long as you let us do it for $2.25 for X how many months or whatever. You can't go in a market where everything's $1.50 a mile and say we want $2.25. That ain't gonna happen. That's common sense. And the only selling point you have with contract freight is equipment. You know, Schneider can come in, you know, if you take a small carrier like Traveloco and then you have a big carrier like JB Hunt go in together at the same shipper and say, hey, we can move X amount of loads for X amount of dollars. Well, Schneider can drop 15 trailers at this shipper and keep it moving with their model, you know, and that's buying power. So that makes Schneider a more powerful company than, or JB Hunt more powerful company than Traveloco. Why? Because Traveloco doesn't have 20, 30,000 trailers to just give them 10 or 15 or 20, you know, and they don't have company drivers or brokerage to be able to cover the rest of the stuff that they can't. So you got all these people on Facebook say, oh, you need to get contract freight. You need to, well, how do you do that when you're a small one-person carrier, right? You got people like Christian Trucker that's managed to do that, but it took hard work and dedication to do that, and he works his butt off to get that done, and he's using multiple trailers. See? It takes equipment to get those kind of contracts. And if you can't cover those loads, guess what? You better have a brokerage to do it. Because if you promise we'll move 20 loads and you can't quite get your trucks there, then you break contract. Guess what? Somebody like JB Hunt or Swift or Snyder is going to come in and take that. So the time to negotiate contracts was last year. Big Rig CEO, what is up, my friend? This is based on the cost of medical care for accidents involving semis. Yeah, Gary, it's all tied in because of lack of training. The lack of training is incredible. It is dumbfounding, the kind of training that I'm seeing out here. And guess what? Worse training, more accidents, right? And you know, in all these 1 or 2 or 3 truck companies that have these major accidents because they had a friend that knew a friend that helped them get their CDL kind of deals, those people are out there killing people or injuring people or causing massive amounts of damage, and then their insurance can't pay for that. So that's what creates that situation. It's a vacuum of stupidity. We slice our own throats. There are more small carriers, but we don't hold the majority of capacity. What's up, Truckers Table? Triple T, what's up? Yeah, John, let's do that. But anyways, I I'm all about simplifying. You know, if my settlements are so nice, we get paid after every load. I'll deliver a load today, and I'll have a settlement tomorrow. It'll be in the bank the next day. Simple, simple, simple. I get the Raycon, sign it, send it to Jeff. Simple. I love apps like Uber, Coyote. I haven't used Convoy, but Convoy, that's a big one for like trucking. Why? Because it's simplified. I use same 2 or 3 brokers on everything. Why? Because it's simplified. Like I said, I'm kind of a dumbass, right? So I need to simplify things for me to keep up. So, anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about was complications and all that. There's a channel called #That'sTrucking. And we have a pretty small circle. We're not as active as some of the other channels. And everybody in there is a moderator. So, you know, trolls are pretty much taken care of pretty instantly. This coffee is good, by the way. Travel OK didn't pursue contract freight onions. That's a funny sentence. I'm outside of Indy at the biggest rest area in the world, Mr. Chapstick 2010. I think that, you know, and I'm not dogging Traveloco by no means. I'm just saying that, you know, people are asking about contract freight because they know the spot market's down, right? So, and I guess it's good that people are asking those questions. And that's the thing, guys. Here's some of the single most important advice I'm going to give you. Okay, you know me. I try not to use that word. You should. I'm going to this time. Before you go to a company, whether it be company or owner op or lease op, doesn't matter. Before you go there, you need to interview them. You need to know what your deductions are. You need to know what they offer, what the fuel rebates offer, what their drivers are averaging per week on the gross numbers. What are the average expenses? Do they allow riders? Do they have some kind of health insurance? Do they have extra pay for New York City? Or are you forced to go to New York City? Do they have hazmat pay? Do they have all these different things? And you need to interview them. When I went to Schneider, I interviewed them as much as they interviewed me. Now, Jeff, you know, like trucking, basically had a 2-year-long interview, pretty much, of what his goals were and what he wanted to do, and what was expected, right? And if you don't do that, I mean, think about this, especially you Schneider finance guys. Your costs are pretty high on the truck alone, right? And you can't let the bigger number, oh, you get 85 at company X, while Schneider only gets 65%. But what are the deductions? Because sometimes the extra percentage, all it does is cover those deductions. So you're still only making 65%. Does that make sense? Jeff has talked about this in his videos. If you take the 100% line haul and you make a straight 80%, no deductions, right? And then you take another driver who's done the same exact load, same exact money on the 100% line haul, and he gets this deduction, this deduction, this deduction. If you look at his number, net number, after all the deductions, and my net number, you know, who made more money? You can have a company that you gross 95%, right? Gross, right? What good is it if they charge you $2,000 a week or $3,000 a week in expenses? Does you no good. You can almost make more money with a company that's paying you 70% with no deductions, depending on how high those deductions are. Again, we're complicating the system. Don't complicate it. Do a straight percentage. Do a straight deduction. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. And you do that, you're good. Interview the company. Educate yourself as much as you can. Don't be a dumbass like me. And make sure, like, I refuse to work for a carrier that will complicate the system. And Jeff keeps it simple. Jeff's whole business model is pretty simplified. It's genius. It's all about the net. Blue Line Coach. That's your favorite saying of mine, isn't it? It's all about the net. What do you take home after expenses? That's the important number. And if you can't pay your bills with that, what good is 90% of nothing when you can have 80% of something? See? It's very profound, Steve. Anyways, yeah, I talk to myself a lot. John Citron says, I made that same mistake when I went to Traveloka. I've seen it time and time again. People go into carriers with high expenses, and then they get additional high expenses with a different business model, and it does not work for them. How does Schneider finance guys make it at Schneider? The drop and hook. The fact that you can do a 200-mile load for $800. I've seen it, done it, been there, done that. In the spot market, that's hard to do. Because at Schneider, you can do drop and hook and get 2 of those loads in one day, right? You can get 2 $600 loads in one day. It's all about the money ball, approach there. 4 singles create a run. Watch Big Rick CEO's video about Moneyball. That's how, why is it that guys at Schneider, okay, they make money when their average rate is $1.60 a mile, $1.40 to $1.60 a mile, and they can handle those $4,000 truck payments. How is that? Because of the drop and hook, because of the capacity. Capacity is controlled. Spot market, capacity is not controlled. And so we have to get a little bit more money. And, and there are some companies out there that you have more expenses entering the spot market than you would at a big carrier like Landstar Schneider. So there's that. Brian Garner, what's up? Hey, Brian, you remember that conversation we had? I'll tell you later on Zello. Because I think now's the time to make a certain move that you were talking about. But, I saw a Trucker's Coach video where he was talking about an article he had read about how they're complicating, they're going to make it a little bit more complicated to get a truck. Lenders are tightening their grip. They're going to require more money, and they're going to require maintenance money. For example, I believe if you take a scenario like Low Mountain, number one, they want so many documents. Number two, they want you to have so much money in the bank. And then number three, they want you to have so much money down. And because of the way the market has been, and there's a lot of people turning their trucks in, it's going to be harder. Like, everybody thinks that they're going to snatch up all this used equipment. Guess what? It's going to be harder to do that unless you have all your ducks in a row, or you have stellar credit. You know, if you don't have stellar credit and you don't have all your ducks in a row, it's going to be a lot harder to get a truck. Unless you can find one of these places that will play bank and give you a loan. But then at that point, like James Best has pointed out, do you really want to be out here in this volatile market if you don't have all your ducks in a row, you don't have stellar credit? I know that if I didn't have good credit, I wouldn't have survived. I would have been done. I would have been done with the Peterbilt. That's a fact. Think about that. Because I wasn't smart with my money. I wasn't saving it. Because I was out here all willy-nilly. See, that's the thing, guys. Most of the crap that I tell you is because I've experienced it. Not because I know better. Not because I'm the all-knowing guy who never screws up. No. All my wisdom is through screwing up. All of it. And paying attention when other people screw up. That's where I'm at, right? And it's a miracle that I'm still here. Knock on wood. It's a miracle. So, the only thing that my aspect, my YouTube channel, any aspect of my life that should inspire you, if you need inspiration, is perseverance. I've got that going for me. That's it. I got a good family support. I got decent credit. And I've got people that will help me in a time of need. Everything else I'm still learning. I know what not to do more than I know what to do. That's it. That should be a t-shirt. Hey, by the way, you guys like my shirt my daughter gave me? #1 dad. Yeah, Darth Vader. And you can't see because of the massive flowing beard. But I know, squirrel, right? I know more what not to do than I know more what to do. That's how you learn. It's through falling down. Everybody's quick to point at people and say you're a failure for this and that and the other. That's how you learn. If you tried to be a lease op or an owner op twice, I bet you that third time you might be more successful if you decide to try a third time. That's how you learn. First 2 times, now you know what not to do because that didn't work. Now, if you're the kind of person that blames your circumstances on everything else, like the carrier or the brokers or anything like that, you're not going to learn. Fact. If you play the victim, you will not learn. If it's everybody else's fault, you will not learn. Let's say you're running down the road and all of a sudden your engine throws a rod. Boom. Truck is absolutely useless. That's a circumstance that maybe you think you had no control, right? But you did. You could have prepared for that and gotten another truck. But let's say you're on a country road and some dummy comes out and you clock him. I mean, just boom, right? Totals the truck. That's the circumstance that's beyond your control. And you could sit there and blame, well, if it wasn't for that car, I'd still be in business. No. Because you did not set up your business for that what if at that point. So you always have to have the what ifs. You always have to think, what is the worst case scenario? Right? There are people with paid off trucks that will park them and work as a company driver somewhere just until the market gets better. Right? There are things in place in any business plan, trucking or non-trucking, that you have to have in place for a worst case scenario, just in case the economy collapses, or just in case this happens, or you have a fire, or that kind of thing. What do you do? What will you lose? Will they take your truck? Will they take your house? Will you have to find a new place to live? What kind of risk are you putting up? And now, while my numbers aren't stellar, while I'm not out here making $4 a mile on 2,000 miles a week, I attribute some of that because I'm not willing to put a whole lot at risk. And I set that up on purpose. And the odds of a continuing successful business are against you. Not all of us can turn into bigger carriers if you have your own authority. But I talked to a guy that had his own authority. He's had it for 12 years, and he specializes in hazmat and pharmaceuticals, refrigerated. Makes a killing. His truck's paid off, house is paid off, his building's paid off. He goes on vacation twice a year. That's success. Because he could injure himself and not be able to drive for the rest of his life, and they're not going to take his house away. They're not going to take any property that he owns away, because he owns it free and clear. And with the amount of money he makes, he can easily go and get another truck if he had to. So that's the what ifs. And the more what ifs you can think of, the more successful you can be. And then there's something to be said for a little bit of passion. Because if you don't have a passion for it, if you don't have a taste for the game, it's not gonna work. And if let's say you hate trucking, right? Let's say you hate trucking, but you're in this business because you do okay, right? Well, how can you manipulate your business? Remember, it's all about manipulation, not management. How can you manipulate your business to where you don't have to be in the truck? How many people do you know that had their own authority and then got out of the truck and they have one truck on? How many people have consulting businesses now that used to be owner-operators? How many people have found a way to get out of the truck? People like Indiana Jack. He found the way to get out of the truck, right? So there are ways to manipulate things. If you despise something, then I despise refrigerated grocery store warehouse freight. So guess what? I don't use it. I don't do it, right? Could I make more money if I wanted to? Yeah, but there's more risk. More expensive trailer. Cargo can be a little bit more expensive on the insurance. That's not worth it to me because I have no passion for that. So I do dry van. Well, what can I do to make the most out of a dry van? Well, add some ramps, add some E-tracks, start doing specialized van freight. How do I get there? That's the trick. TJ, what's up? Matt thinks he's going to turn Traveloka around. I think he's going to lose his spot because it seems like the only reason he went back to Traveloka is to get into a hooded truck. John Cater, here's the thing with Matt, okay? I've talked to Matt privately, and he's also said it in his videos. He is about YouTube, okay? And every move that he's made, these are his words, every move that he's made benefits him. It's always benefited him, okay? He's not dumb. So the things that people are bringing up about the old truck and about the big hood and about the spot market and everything else, he has thought about that. He really has. Because his goals are different when it comes to the trucking world, when it comes to the trucking universe. His goals are different. And not a whole lot of people understand that. And I wish him well. And he does have some work cut out for him, but I know that he's smart enough to put himself in a position to where he's not going to be under the same conditions as everybody else. So Joe Cannell needs you to go teach him keto. He said he's ready to learn. How far do you live from him? I live about 3 hours, little white coach. He's in Harrisonville, Missouri. I'm in Springfield. That's about 160 miles, something like that. I will, Brian. 3,500 in bank, 3,500 down at Low Mountain in 2017. Well, it's a lot higher now, TJ. All right, Red Pepper. Take it easy. Pale Rider does not like mushrooms. Let that news be known. Let it be known that Pale Rider hates mushrooms. He looked at my delicious steak and he said, ew, he put mushrooms on it. Man, that was like the best part of it. That was like, man, and thanks again to Provost. You know, we were talking on Zello and he was like, yeah, man, I put a can of mushrooms on the steak and boom, no water necessary. And that's exactly what I did. You saw how much liquid was in that steak. That was all fat and water from the mushrooms. And if you're on keto, fat and water is a good thing. All right, guys. I've been on here an hour. Why ruin a good cut of meat by putting mushrooms on it? That is in the eye of the beholder there, Mr. Pale Rider TV. That is in the eye of the beholder. One of my favorite things to do at home is mushrooms and onions. And peppers and onions for like sausage and stuff like that. Blue cheese crumbles on that steak. Yeah, that sounds good. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. These are just my thoughts, my opinions. Don't take anything I say too seriously because, again, I'm a dumbass, right? And educate yourself on whatever carrier you're going to. Know everything going in. So when you go in there and put their stickers on the side of your truck, you have all the confidence in the world that you can make it work. Okay? Because in this day and age, after all is said and done, the only things you got left is confidence and perseverance. Persistence. That's it. Somebody can come here and take everything away from you. And the only thing that's going to get you through is confidence, faith, and perseverance. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle. But it's through that struggle that you will learn. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, share this out. I'm trying to get my views up. I'm trying to get my analytics up a little bit. Why? Because I enjoy this. I want more interaction. And I've been watching a lot of these YouTubers with less subscribers have way more views. And I know I need better camera equipment for the GoPro vlogs. I know I need better editing skills. I'm working on that. But it would be much more worth it to work on that if I could acquire those things and make it feel like it's worth it, you know. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Be safe out there. See you.